Josh, when we were talking to Mike a little earlier, he had mentioned that the biggest difference, I guess, from year one, year two with the offseason conditioning program has been seeing confidence in guys, how they approach day to day. I'm curious to get your thoughts, though, on, I guess, what the biggest difference has been from last year to this year up to this point.
I think the biggest difference, you take, 365 days ago is how these guys approach the work every day coming in. Being a year into it, they have a better idea of what to expect every day. So now they know when they come in, they're going to expect to be challenged. They're going to expect it to be hard, but they're also going to have the confidence now to know that we're never putting something in front of them that we don't as coaches believe that they can achieve. And so as guys start to understand how that program's built that way, guys come in with a little more excitement, a little more confidence, a little more juice bouncing in the room, ready to approach the day's work. And I think that goes too with going back to the year of having the opportunity to build some relationships and build more trust. So, there's that level is different when the guys show up to work every day.
All right, next will be Pat Burnham from the Osceola.
Hey, Coach, hope you're doing well. Just want to talk, obviously, you guys missed the post-spring off-season conditioning program last summer. How excited are you and your staff about, fingers crossed, getting the kids back in the off-season program once spring ends and through the summer?
That's a game changer for us. There's a ton of excitement surrounding that. Even, starting the winter program back in January, of having the opportunity to kind of return to, getting closer and closer to normalcy, especially over this last month of, being at full strength and being rolling kind of, business as usual. Excited to take this into spring ball, letting that transition into April and May, and looking forward to actually having a full, true summer program leading up to camp this year. It just gives us the one thing that we lost out last year is the blessing of having time to do the work, time to make progress. With last year, we lost, in excess of 30% of our annual training weeks. And so this year, hoping to continue getting those back and being able to make that progress over this year that we had hoped to achieve when we set out to write the plan.
All right, next will be Ira Schofel from Warchant.
When you guys bring in transfers mid-year the way you did, how prepared are they for what you guys are doing? Is it a seamless transition, or is it a big adjustment for some of those guys?
It's kind of an it depends answer. It depends on the program that those guys are coming from and kind of what the focus was in the program they're coming from, or if they had time from when they left that program before entering our program where they're kind of on their own. So it's kind of all across the board. So, in some of those cases, I'll reach out to their former strength coaches, get an idea kind of where that athlete was at, if there's certain things that we need to be aware of from injury history or, training modification standpoint. And then just conversations with the guys as they come in and figuring out kind of where they're at and what their strong suits are, what they need to work on, and then getting them plugged in and, being, good set of eyes on those guys to modify and push where you need to push and pull back where you need to pull back until that full foundation is laid to be 100% full go. We were super fortunate this year. The group of guys we brought in, knew how to train. All those guys came in prepared and ready to do the work and put their best foot forward, try to impact the team as soon as possible.
Our next question will be Kurt Weiler from Tallahassee Democrat.
Hey, Josh. I think Coach Norvell used the term a star when talking about Jashawn Corbin and what he's done so far this offseason. I guess I don't know what he was able to kind of do last year coming off the injury, but how impressed have you been with his approach and all he's done so far this offseason?
Yeah, Jashawn's a stud. That guy is ultra dependable. He's kind of the same guy on the football field as he is coming to work every day. He's that guy that's going to be well-rounded, able to do everything well, ultra consistent in what he does, doesn't just stay within himself, but reaches out to teammates around him, tries to make other guys better as well in the process. So kind of seeing him grow more and more into that role, more into a leadership role, letting his personality out more, helping those other guys in his group has been really fun to watch over the course of the winter.
Next will be Perry from Tomahawk Nation.
Coach, something you're big on is mental strength. And I've seen you posting your videos of yoga and meditation in the garage. Are you doing something similar to that with the players to help build up their mental fortitude, or does that really just come from the grind of every single day attending those workouts?
Yeah, it's from showing up every day and doing the work. And mental toughness starts with how you're approaching that work for the day. Are you a guy that's over there walking the IPF that's worried and scared about what's to come and has a lot of anxiety, or you guys that's bouncing over there ready to attack the work, and it's you versus what's going to happen that day? And it's teaching guys through that process every day that it's not in those moments when it's hard, when you're getting straight, it's not you that matters. It's the task at hand that matters. And so getting the guys to be in that mindset, the number one thing, the most important thing is getting the job done. Okay. What's going on outside of here, being able to put that aside, being able to compartmentalize certain things when the task at hand is the task at hand. We talk about lots of times keeping the main thing the main thing. And so if you can do that day in, day out over time, what builds? Confidence builds, mental toughness builds. It's like forging steel. Every time it goes into the fire, it comes out harder. Okay. And so for our guys, that's showing up to work every day. And every day that you can control that mindset coming in and control that mindset when things are hard, well, then what do you become every day when you come out there? You're slowly being forged. And that's the process we're now building towards camp.
We'll go back to Pat from the Osceola.
Hey, Coach, you've got 11 signees that are not on campus yet. I'm sure that you guys have a program for them that they follow. How are you guys? Do you guys speak with them, FaceTime with them on a weekly basis? And have you seen any great strides out of any of the 11 kids that haven't arrived on campus yet?
Yeah, so with our signees, we kind of handle that a little bit differently, I think, maybe than a lot of places. So typically, as soon as those guys sign that NLI, we reach out to them with the next day or two afterwards, kind of start building that relationship. But a lot of times figuring out what's their spring schedule look like? Are they running track? Are they playing basketball? Are they playing baseball? Are they doing a spring sport? Are they just training? Are they still working with their high school strength coach? Or do they have a trainer? Or are they working out with dad or an uncle in the garage, or just kind of, every guy's situation is different. So first of all, we got to get on top of where that guy's at, what kind of situation is he coming from. And then from there, Coach Coleman runs that entire signee program that transitions them into the summer. And so we use an app for that, so they can communicate via the app. We do some video coaching, phone calls every week, some FaceTime off and on, showing those guys what's going on around here. Just keep kind of, stoking that fire and that excitement, helping those guys visualize themselves from being where they're at to being here within the building with us. And then when they get on campus in June there, once again, Coach Coleman runs that freshman intensification program, laying the foundation of the work that's to come and the foundational movements of our program, helping them transition into that in-season program and eventually into the veteran program at the end of their first season. But kind of one of the reasons we'll keep those guys separate is it really helps us identify leaders early in the process. If I take those young guys who just step on campus and maybe are great natural leaders, but put them in with the vets, well, what's going to happen? Those guys will be led by the vets. And I won't know if they're a leader yet. But if I can keep them with their class and that guy that shows great leadership amongst his class, well, now we've identified that, right? We can start getting that guy leadership reps over the course of his career, because oftentimes that guy will eventually become the leader of his position group, the leader of his side of the ball, the leader of the team. And so as much as that freshman program from the time they sign through the time they get here is about, the bigger, faster, stronger, and the physical training things, it's as much for us about identifying mental characteristics and stuff of those guys as well.
We'll go back to Ira from Warchant.
With everything Mackenzie's been through, coming back from his injury, when he gets in the weight room and the guys see him doing things or during tour of duty, can he be kind of inspirational, even though he's not a guy that's been around the program very long?
Oh, I think 100%. I mean, everybody knows who Mackenzie Milton, the player, is in the field from seeing what he did at UCF. Okay. And then those guys are all very well at what he's been through since that injury up until now. And those guys see him come in and, there isn't limitations in the weight room. That guy's going through tour of duty. And so those guys all fully understand what that process had to look like. And even if they may only understand the tip of the iceberg or what it really took, well, the tip of that iceberg is still big and significant. Those guys see that. And that kind of builds an automatic kind of level of respect. When you know a guy that's been through a hard road and you see where he's brought himself, man, that's something everybody can learn from. Players included, coaches included, staff included.
We'll go back to Brendan from Noles 347.
We've seen some of the videos from the weight room this offseason of guys hitting, I guess, max or pretty close to it, and then celebrating afterwards, teammates celebrating. That culture that you guys are trying to build there, was that quite to that extent last year? And then secondly, I guess, what's it like to see that kind of excitement and fun when guys are hitting maxes?
Oh man, it's been awesome to see this winter. And that, it's been a big focus of ours, from the day we got here till now is building that. We talk a lot about brotherhood, and that's part of building that brotherhood is being able to be just as excited for your brother's progress as you are your own, to be just as invested in his success as you are your own. And that starts slowly, and it's got to be organic and it's got to grow over time. But I think now in some of those clips that you've seen, you can see that starting to take hold. And, if it can take hold as something as simple as a heavy power clean in the weight room, well, then you got a better chance of carrying over to the practice field, into the locker room, most importantly to game day. And so when you know that your brothers are there to support you in what you're doing, well, sometimes that added strength is the difference maker between failure and success. And, I think you can see in those few clips, like it's brewing and it's growing every day.
We'll go back to Ira.
You guys don't have it's still somewhat of a young team, but you do have some guys that came back for 5th years and I guess even 6 years. What have you seen from like Emmett Rice and some of those older guys, just having them leading those younger guys through this process?
I think the really neat thing about that with those guys that are coming back for that extra year, it's something very unique, because when you come into a program new and you inherit the guys that are there, they're your guys, but they didn't necessarily choose you. Well, with those guys that came back, they're truly choosing us, choosing this program. And with that decision that came, which was a big decision, also came this new level of not just buy-in, but leadership and ownership of the program, whether it be in their position room or of the guy next to them or just the day-to-day work in general. So, that's been really fun to see. I know Coach touched on earlier, you see a guy like Emmett Rice, who was, I think 201 or 202 pounds when we got here last January, that weighed in yesterday at like 232. That shows buy-in. That doesn't happen by accident. That's consistency, that's hard work, and that's a belief in the things that are going on around and wanting to do everything you do to be an impactful part of it.
We'll go back to Brendan.
One other guy at linebacker who seemingly has made a lot of strides in the weight room is Amari Gainer. I guess, what have you seen from him in that regard since the time you guys first got here to now?
Yeah, he's another guy kind of the same vein as Emmett was. 200 pounds when we got here, is in the low 230s now. I think ultimately he's a guy this year that can probably play in the mid to high 230s week in, week out, ultimately on the way to being a 240-ish type guy. But from some testing numbers this week, that's a guy that's put, 30 plus pounds on the bench, 30 plus pounds on a power clean since last year. Movement skills are better, hip mobility is improving greatly. And once again, it's consistency and buy-in and using the resources that are at your fingertips to maximize your experience here and what you can get out of it. And that's a guy who's done a good job of wringing every last drop out of the experience he can get.
All right. Thank you, Coach.